Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Ken Riafe, and I'm a product manager here at CMiC. We're super excited to be sharing the new CMiC Field R12 mobile app with you. Our team put in a lot of work over the last year or so to make this happen. We've come a long way since Mobile Field, which was introduced back in 2015. We've applied customer feedback and lessons learned over the years to provide an app that will deliver an exceptional user experience, elevated performance, and enhanced stability. For those that have worked with Mobile Field in the past, I sincerely hope that you notice this throughout the presentation. For those that are new here, welcome. I'm sure you'll like what you see. So for the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'll be going over a few topics. I'll start off by sharing some general information and provide a high-level view of Field R12. From there, I'll highlight what's new. I'll spend time in our RFI, documents, and drawings features. To close, I'll spend a few minutes sharing our roadmap, what you'll need to get started, and then we'll end off with the Q&A section. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to ask them in the chat section. We'll get those answered for you if possible. I'll be joined by our Director of Product Management, Steve Cangiano. And with that being said, let's get started. So before we dive into the app, I think it would be helpful to provide some background information, especially for those who haven't used Mobile Field in the past. Mobile Field was created to be an extension of everything that happens in project management on the web. The value add is having the ability to work on projects in the field on a mobile device and not be restricted to having an internet connection. All users have the same credentials and security carried over to the app, and you have full flexibility to control what users see and do. This means you can prevent anyone with a specific project role from viewing drawings and can prevent users from publishing any annotations if desired. So we've made a significant amount of changes with this new app, CMiC Field R12. One of the biggest enhancements you'll find is the consistent experience across all Apple and Android devices. And the same is true whether you're using a phone or a tablet or viewing the app in portrait or in landscape mode. So the first thing you'll notice about Field is how fast it is. CMiC Field R12 is dramatically faster compared to Mobile Field, and we are confident that this will increase your productivity while using the app. So this is Mobile Field if you haven't seen it before. After logging in, it can take some time for a project to load, especially if it contains a lot of data. Now, here's Field R12. I'll start by entering my credentials and selecting the login button. I'm instantly taken to the homepage screen, which displays the project photo, code, address, and description. Without having to wait for data to load, I can jump straight into a feature. Let's select journals. All of my records are here, and I can start tracking activities. To switch projects, I'll select the menu button again and tap on the arrow where the project name is displayed. I have the option of searching for any project, or I can select a project that I've worked with in the past. So before I transition into the RFI feature, I want to share some more information about the menu that we see here. User information is displayed at the top, where you can also modify app settings and you can log out. Underneath that section is where all of the app features are. So what you see will depend on your security settings. The numbers that you see to the right indicate how many records are within each feature. In this case, there are 34 contacts and 236 drawing sheets. So the first main feature that I'd like to highlight is RFIs. We've redesigned this feature to ensure that it is intuitive to view, create, and modify your records. When you view both app versions side by side, you'll notice that there's a similar structure. You have the RFI log to the left and then the record detail to the right. In terms of the overall layout, we wanted to present as much information as possible. If you take a closer look at Mobile Field on the left, You notice that you can only see 6 RFIs before having to swipe down. In field R12, we were able to display 9. Very subtle difference, but when you think about quickly finding the records you want to work with, everything counts. So here's the RFI feature, where you have your records to the left, and then you have your record detail to the right of the screen. To change the current sorting option, I'll select where the creation date label is. These are my options, and the arrow lets you know if records are displayed in ascending or descending order. To search for RFIs, I'll select on the icon on the top right there. I'll begin typing, and you'll see the results starting to appear. If I successfully find the RFI I'm looking for, I can select it and begin to work with it. You can also find RFIs by using the filter feature, selecting the status leads to the screen, and I'll select approved. Now let's take a look at the record detail. All of the fields are responsive, and you'll notice that the data loads really fast. We've implemented modern components like this calendar tool here, and enhanced the process of adding contacts. I'll scroll down further, and I'd like to touch on the related objects feature. In mobile field, this was restricted to drawings. In field R12, we're opening this up to other features. So I'll tap the RFI option, and I'll select an RFI record. Once I'm happy with it, I'm taken back to the detail screen and can confirm that the relation was made. The last feature I'd like to highlight here is notes. I'll select the field and begin typing. And once I'm done, I'll hit send, and the note is instantly created. If I want to directly reply to this note, I can do that by swiping to the right. And as you're typing, you'll see the reference note. Deleting is also pretty straightforward. All I need to swipe to the right. And once I'm done working with the RFI, I can send an IO email or email the report, or I can just choose to save or submit once I want to lock in my changes. So we made a lot of enhancements towards the documents feature. If you've used mobile field in the past, the one thing you'll notice is that we've integrated the photo log into the documents feature, which creates a faster workflow. The major focus for us as a team was to find ways to increase the speed of adding documents to a project. We also took time to improve the overall look and feel of this feature. So by looking at these screenshots, you'll notice a difference in how thumbnails are rendered. Before, in the past, you had to select on a document to see the preview. In the new app, the thumbnails are automatically generated for you. And that's across all features. There are no limits when it comes to uploading multiple photos via the camera or photos already saved to your device. And we'll see that right now as we transition into field R12. So here's the document feature. And before navigating to a folder, users can search for any document if they know what they're looking for. After selecting the search button and entering a keyword, all results are listed here, and I can open that document right away. You can mark up documents and create new revisions in this viewer. I'll go back and I'll scroll down to the progress photo folder. And as you'd expect, all documents are placed in here and are sorted by their name. In field R12, we've introduced a new feature where documents can also be grouped by date. So if a document was added today, you'll see that as an option. You'll also find groupings by month and year, as you can see now. And it will be much easier to find documents with this method. Next, let's take a look at how you add documents. You can add them through your camera, or you can add documents directly from your device. I'll select the device library, and here are all the photos I've taken on my iPad. I'll select a few of them and select the Done button. At this point, I can hit the Save button and edit each individual document afterwards, or I can edit them all at once. If I want to change folders, I can do that here, and I can add more detail to the remaining fields if I please. Cool, so that was documents. Let's transition into drawings. A major benefit which speaks to the value of being a CMiC customer is the fact that you have all of your information in one place. You can create relations between the features we've already discussed, such as RFIs and drawings. Having everything in one place everything readily available makes life so much easier. We've incorporated a lot of feedback to make this feature as powerful as possible. Now let's look at it inside the app. So this is a drawing log where you can instantly access all of your drawing sheets. As you scroll down, more sheets are loaded and you won't run into any limitations. We introduced a new feature within the sheet thumbnails, and if you see an icon beside the drawing sheet number, it means that there is a published annotation in that sheet. Of course, you can sort the drawing set in different ways, and you can also switch to view depending on what suits your needs. To filter, I'll select the search button. Users can filter the set by trade, and then they can also filter by revision. Now, this is where Field R12 is on another level. You can now keyword search and find results within a sheet number or name, and you can also search within the sheet. So here are all the results after searching that keyword. I'll select drawing sheet A0.11, and when it opens, you'll see that all of the results will be highlighted for me. Cool. So here is a drawing sheet viewer, and swiping in different directions leads me to different results. So by swiping up, I can view earlier revisions of the drawing sheet. I can also accomplish this by selecting the revision button. I can view other drawing sheets by swiping to the left and to the right, and you'll find that the sheets are rendered really quickly. In no time, all of your annotations and markups will be presented to you. To search within the drawing sheet, I can select the search button at the top right. The filter button enables me to view annotations by their status, what they're linked to, and even by who created them. I can also browse the sheets that I've recently viewed in the past. And then I can also compare sheets and share them if needed. Cool, so now let's take a look at the annotation toolbar. I'm going to zoom into an area of the sheet. And then I'm going to select the shape tool. I'll tap and drag to create a square. And once I'm finished, I'm presented with a menu. I'll be able to link, publish, edit, or remove the annotation. Let's link this annotation to an existing RFI. I'll select RFI 001, and then I'll receive confirmation that it was linked. So now when I select the annotation, I can instantly view the RFI by selecting the label. We have other features that will be of interest to users, but I'll end off with the punch list tool, which is driven by a powerful implementation, which are trades. So I'll select the electrical stamp, and I'll find somewhere to place the stamp on the drawing sheet. So without leaving the drawings feature, I can edit all of the punch list items information here, or the punch list items, sorry, the PLI's information here. And as I scroll down within the file, I can select the punch list, and I can even select a location code. If you map your sheets beforehand, the location code will automatically appear. All right, so that's the drawings feature. All right, so I think it's important to spend a few minutes on our roadmap. We released Field R12 at the end of October, which included a lot of our core features. We also implemented a new tool called CMiC Assist. With Assist, users will be able to report any bugs or issues they come across. What's great about the tool is you can share screenshots and videos of what you're experiencing. That information comes straight to us, which helps us diagnose the issue and get it resolved as fast as possible. We're even able to communicate directly through this feature, meaning that we can chat with you directly in the app. I've spent the duration of this webinar showing you where we are today, but there's a lot to be excited about in terms of where we're going. And just please keep in mind, I haven't really referenced anything regarding bugs, because we're fixing bugs like crazy just to ensure that this app is as stable as possible. So if you take a look at the December swim lane, for example, we have some big features that are coming really soon. We've redesigned submittals from the ground up, and we've tried our best to incorporate customer feedback as much as possible. Although submittal creation won't be happening in this app, the active retrieval has been enhanced. We've added new sorting options, and we've added new filtering options that have been heavily requested. This feature is completed and will be available in our next app release. Our checklist feature is also just around the corner, which will have some new features and will be intuitive to use. If you weren't aware, we have customers submit their ideas and requests on a platform called User Voice. We try our best to incorporate these ideas into our products, and I'm happy to report that one of those requests will be making its way into the app in our next release. So moving forward, the app will remember the sorting option that you prefer to work with. So if you like to organize your RFIs by creation date, the app will remember that and won't revert back to the default option. And this has been implemented on all of our main features. In terms of enhancements, we've been laser focused on trying to improve the time it takes for documents to delete and for drawings to download. We've made great progress in these areas, and we hope that you'll notice that difference moving forward. Moving over to Q1 and Q2 of 2021, we'll be looking to reintroduce our PCI feature, add a standalone units complete feature, and then enhance our drawings feature as well. We're also obsessed with improving the process of marking up drawing sheets. Overall, we'll be working hard to ensure that users have the best experience possible. Cool. So for anyone interested in getting started, you'll find that this slide might be really helpful for you. CMiC Field R12 is currently available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. You'll find it listed as CMiC Field. This is an entirely different app, which will require a separate download if you already are using Mobile Field today. If you're a cloud customer, you can get started right away with the same credentials that you use in the web. If you're an enterprise customer, there are some added things to consider. First and foremost, this app is for R12 customers only. If you're still on V10X, you'll still be able to access and use a Mobile Field app, but you won't be able to use this until you upgrade. Also, please note that you'll need to be on patch 12.2 with mobile hotfix B50 at the very least. Please reach out to your account manager if you'd like to make the transition to Field R12 app, and I really hope you do so. And that concludes the webinar. Thanks again for joining and taking the time to listen to me. I hope we answered most, if not all, of your questions during the presentation, but if not, we'll be happy to answer as much as we can now. And I'm going to welcome Steve to join me as well. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for delivering that. I've been typing as fast as I can as questions have been coming through. So I actually think that I got most of them already as we go. So I want to open it up. I mean, we got 176 people that are on the call right now. So if we want to open up for some additional questions that have not been asked yet, whether it's about roadmap, features, any way that Ken or I can help, we're happy to answer some of those live. And if not, we can use the time to kind of share a little bit more details about some of the things that we're planning on doing. But I'm just going to open it up. So we got one question here. Will users be able to approve PCIs within the upcoming PCI functionality? Now, approving PCIs, it again depends on the company, depends on your process, oftentimes is a workflow exercise. So we do have a workflow approvals app that would be responsible for approving a PCI if that was part of your process. Again, I can't be sure exactly just from the question, but we are planning on making the PCI program full featured, meaning that so if you guys remember from Mobile Field, if you guys had used that app, we had a PCI feature there before, but it was kind of a view only. Primarily, it was a view-only PCI program. Like you can create the PCI header, but you couldn't create the details or edit the details. So we actually do plan on making this a full-featured PCI program. One of the main reasons for that is we want this to be able to kick off like a tag extra work / fieldwork directive workflow, because a lot of customers have expressed interest to say, okay, great, we can use like an issue for a fieldwork directive, but if I want to start charging my time to a fieldwork directive and have like a true relationship between the time allocated to the fieldwork directive and like the implications on job cost, we would need a PCI number to do that. So one of the intended workflows, well, you'd be able to create a PCI from the mobile app, and as soon as that number is entered, you can then start charging time specifically to that PCI number using like MCT or time tracker. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about for PCIs. So Alex said, December release, is there a date yet? Very soon, before Christmas, because there won't be a lot of folks to work on the app, for that week of the holidays. But we are very close to a new release. We are planning on getting the cloud updated this weekend, so it's ready to go for the release. And we're going to be releasing a hotfix for the enterprise customers to make sure they have their systems up to date as well. So there'll be quite a few updates that are in there. If you remember, if you want to go back to that slide, Ken, submittals, checklists, trade equipment tab for daily journals. Those are some of the really big primary features that will all be included in that update. So we're super excited about that. And I think it's going to hopefully kind of, no more excuses. Everyone's ready to go for the new app, and we hope to see a lot more people starting to use it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so there's a couple of questions here. Some of these are maybe issues that people have. We can work through it from a support perspective. John had a question. Is there any proposed interface with BIM 360 Docs or with Oracle Primavera Cloud for pulling in for a planning module like daily tasks? So I would say over on the earned value side, you may have seen some of those sessions that connect. We are working on integration with Primavera P6 from Oracle to bring in the activity codes, start and end date of a P6 schedule, and then that would drive some of the earned value calculations that we would do when you map those to cost codes. So it's not directly related to the mobile app, but there would be an implication for that. Like if you think of the manpower tab in daily journals, we have an activities field there, and that is kind of an older field that was used primarily like if you wanted to import activities from your schedule manually. So there are some implications for entering in manpower based on real activities from P6. That would be a nice connection that would impact mobile. And then even on the whole units complete side, one of the reasons that we've kind of held back building units complete until right around now is we want to make it a standalone feature inside a field. So it won't be buried inside of daily journals. It'll be its own menu item, but we'll be able to take advantage of all of that, some of that work that we've done on the earned value side as well. And we want to get a little bit more into some of the planning side of units entry, a little bit more visuals and KPIs and things of that nature. So that's kind of the plan there. Someone was asking about the new XML configuration parameters for MDM. It was Chris. Chris, if what we'll do is we'll actually send you a link to the article in our support portal. So we have our knowledge base. If you type in MDM into the new knowledge base, we have an article with all of those parameters. So we will send that directly to you. Let me take a look at a few others. Okay, so it was a question from Eve. How would you expect users to gain access to submittal information? Well, we're building out a separate submittal program in the CMiC Field app, and that's going to be like a menu item like RFIs is. The primary focus of the submittal feature is viewing and consuming of information. It's not so much, submittal administration. So you'll find that the majority of the submittal program is kind of read-only. So you're going to look at key data points like the spec number, the package, the status, current responsibility. There's going to be information about the types. You'll be able to view all of the notes and attachments on the submittal. That was kind of the key feedback that we got early on was, yes, we can access submittals from the documents feature, but we don't often label our submittal attachments appropriately, so it's much easier for us to just quickly search for the right attachment in the submittals feature. So there was a big focus in the submittals feature of consuming data, searching through the submittal log, filtering through the submittal log. That was kind of the primary focus of submittal. So in terms of what we're expecting users to do with the submittals program, I'll kind of paraphrase a little bit. I'll say that's our primary use case is to consume submittal data when you're out in the field. We're also doing some work on highlighting, putting like kind of a star around the approved submittal attachment, which is a new feature that a lot of customers had requested as well. So that's all kind of the mindset that we have for the submittals program. And then Eve has to follow up timeframe for submittals. That's going to be in that December release that we talked about. So a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit less, but we are targeting and getting that out before Christmas. It's actually 100% done. If you were paying attention, it actually was on Ken's menu when he was going through, if you were looking at some of those videos. So it's been done for a little while. We're just wrapping up checklists, and we want to kind of release them all in one shot. So there's some questions about, and I've got a couple of these actually. This one's from Billy. Is there or will there be an ability to add a custom dashboard to the app? So right now, no. There's no ability to add custom dashboards, but this has come up actually a decent amount. It even came up when we were working with the older mobile field app. So that's something that I'm actually going to put together what I think customers are looking for when they ask this question into user voice, and I'll share that on user voice, and we'll find a way to promote it to everybody that attended this session. And I'd be interested to get your feedback on it, because as you know, we do have an analytics suite which renders these dashboards basically as web pages. So we could put some of those in there, but I'd be interested to make sure that we're understanding correctly what you guys would want out of a dashboarding solution for mobile. Are we just looking to click the button and you just see kind of like an adjusted scale dashboard of what you had on the web? Or is there something more unique there? And we'll kind of work to better understand that a bit. So I'll say no, not right now, but it's something I'm really interested in because it's come up quite a bit. And I don't think it would be a massive feature for us to have to roll out from a technical perspective. So it's something that we would be pretty inclined to put in there. Okay, so let's see if I can find any others. We have a couple minutes left. So there is some challenges with, this is from Jack. We are currently not able to see attachments in RFIs when offline. Is this something that has been updated in R12? I'm assuming, Jack, you're working with the newest CMiC field R12 mobile app that Ken was showing. So I'll give you guys a little bit of background on this. I think it's an important topic that we spent some time on a lot recently, actually. When we built out the app originally, the idea was we're going to download everything under the sun, and we're going to just make sure that you have like your entire project, which for a lot of large companies or a lot of large projects, you're talking 3,000 submittal records, 500 RFIs, 2,000 drawings, and so forth. So it made the initial download of the app and the startup of the app quite slow, because there was a lot of stuff that needed to download, and that first impression was not great with mobile field. And we took a little bit of a different approach with the new field app. Is we wanted to download primarily things kind of on demand. So the app chose to go to the server by default when it goes and views records and wants to see things from the server. But when it gets information, it stores all that on its device. So if you had, opened the RFI log or the submittal log, any of those tools, it's storing all that information on the device as it gets it. But it's not just going through and downloading everything from the beginning of time the second you open up the app. Now, that does work well from the perspective of it's very fast to launch, very nimble. You're always getting the latest data. You don't have to worry about hitting pull to refresh and all that stuff that the older app had challenges with. But there is a downside that there are going to be some projects that don't have access to the web as consistently. So our plan is to add, a relatively simple switch to all of the major features, whether it be RFIs or issues or submittals, and then allow you to download an offline copy of the entire directory. But it would be the decision of the user to decide if they need to do that. And that's going to probably be something that will solve most of those issues. I will mention, by default, we are downloading the entire drawing set. That's one thing that the app does today. It downloads the entire drawing set from the very beginning. The user doesn't have to do anything because we knew that drawing set was always going to be something that people needed easy access to, and we wanted to make sure that was done. So we'll take a slightly different approach with some of the other modules. We'll make the user choose, like, if you don't need to have your entire issues directory downloaded on your device all the time and all you care about is RFIs, well, we'll let the user make that choice. And we've built a lot of infrastructure over the last few weeks, well, probably more a month or so, that's going to support this. And it's going to make it a lot easier for us to do. So I will say that's kind of the logic that's in place now. The app downloads information on demand. It stores everything that it gets. So all of that information is available offline, but we are going to add that download all button to the top, right-hand corner of those programs. That's something that we will be working on probably right after we release the new app in a couple weeks, or the new version of the app in a couple weeks. Okay, so Scott has a question. Will there be any way to set security settings so that outside users can't delete drawing annotations? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that exists today. So if you, on the project role, each user is assigned a project role, and at the very bottom, there's a section for annotation security. So if the user does not have the edit and delete privilege for annotation security, they should not be able to delete annotations. So you should have full control there. So if that's not working for you properly, Scott, just reach out to me and let me know, and we'll make sure you get the information. But 100%, like, you should be able to configure the project role today so that your external collaborators can't delete annotations. You also have, full control whether they can publish, whether they can link to other things. That's all an option there. Okay, so Ken, what do you think? Should we wrap up? I think we got most of them.
Yeah, I think that was amazing. Thank you so much for your help, Steve.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll let Ken wrap up.
Yeah, so once again, thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to one of us or your account manager if you're interested in getting started. Beyond that, I really do hope that you stay well, stay safe, and happy holidays. Take care, everybody.